Hi there folks, welcome to a brand new episode of the Klikcast. We're going to start off with a new interview about a game called Lillian, and I'm going to get out of this freaking cold. Crazy. Today we have our very own Robert Dowling on the line. Hi Robert, how are you?
Good, thanks, how are you?
I am doing pretty good. We'll start at the beginning. So when you got started, the story is there, you started programming. Did it just continue on from there? Did you hit any problems working on the game for this long?
Yeah, well, I wasn't actually meant to program it at the start. I actually had a friend that was going to do all the programming and things, but then he sort of left, and then I found another one, and the same thing happened, he left, so I thought, okay, this is a bad run.
So you had to take control yourself.
Yeah, so I ended up just, I was using Garage Games TGB back then. That was about 2 to 3 years ago. And then I thought, I don't know what's a bug or what's my own fault. So I thought, I've got to change the program I'm using. So I looked at MMF, grabbed that. And yeah, it's just been coming together since then. But it is coming together. I've learned heaps, and thanks to the Click Team community, I've just been learning so much, and it's all coming together really well. It's very animation based, so everything sort of relies and triggers from other animations, so it sort of works for me there.
So you basically have been learning as you continue building the game, really.
Yeah. Well, I have done a lot of scripting in the past because I am an animator. I've used Python a lot for the programs and things, but never to this large extent. So I've been learning as I go and enjoying it.
Well, that's good. So you recently you're almost finished with the episode 1, really, and you recently submitted to the IGF as well. How did that go? Isn't this the second time you submitted it, or can you tell us something about that?
It is the second time. I don't expect to win anything, but the judges give good feedback. So it's good just to put it in there, make me feel like sort of put myself into that sort of area, which is a lot of fun. And in March, I'll get a bit of feedback from the judges, which is really cool. Yeah.
Well, I think that's great about the IGF. You submit it, even if you don't win, you still get all that feedback back from, kind of professionals, judges. So that's always good.
Yeah.
So after this, once you finish it up, are you planning on releasing the first episode? Are you going to sell it, or...?
Yeah, it'll be for sale. I'm hoping by the end of this month it'll be out.
Oh, great.
I'm just working on the intro animation now, and just finishing up on a couple of sounds that are broken at the moment. But yeah, it'll be out, and depending on how well as it goes, will be how quickly I start on the next episode.
So now that the episode 1 is almost finished, are you gonna take a little break, or are you just straight ahead into episode 2 already?
I will be taking a break only because my wife makes me. So, but it is good. I do need a break, and I do contract work as well. So I've got to put some time aside for some contract work as well.
Yeah, of course. For the people who don't know, I think the first episode is a side scroller. Can you tell us a bit about what the player has to do in the first episode?
Yeah, sure. Basically, she's let out of her restraints in her room by, say, an unknown entity. Things have sort of changed. It's all sort of quiet and unusual around her, and she hasn't had a medication for a little while. So it's sort of difficult to work out what is real and what is coming from her imagination. Mm-hmm. At the start, it's sort of blatantly obvious. Things pop out of doorways that, in reality, obviously wouldn't happen. But as it progresses through, it all starts to merge as time goes by, and so reality and imagination start to blend together after a while. And all this basically happens in the first episode, where she's just trying to work out what's happening in this hospital, and things just happening around her, basically. She's just an observer at the moment.
Oh, that sounds like a great game to me. Can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I hope it works out well, yeah.
So you say it's coming out at the end of November. Is there any website people can go to try it out or to buy it?
No, there's no demo yet. You can view like screenshots and things at liliangame.com. The funny thing is the demo will actually be coming out after the first episode. And this is because I'm making a level specific to the demo.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it's basically, it's going to be sort of like like watching a trailer of a movie all in one level, so you get a taste of everything.
That's a pretty good idea. I think people will appreciate that. So last question there, Robert. With such a big project behind you now, is there anything you can suggest to people who are starting to work on their own game? Any hints or tips that they can take into account? Yeah,
start small.
Start small, eh?
Start small, yeah, because it's just taken so long. At this point in the project, it's getting to a point where it's become a bit of a job. Where I just got to get it finished, and the wife isn't happy, and but we're all looking forward to being over, basically. So
I'm sure all the fans will appreciate all the effort you've been put into it there, Robert. I'm sure.
Thanks, man.
All right, I think that'll do it. Thank you so much for taking the time. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's good. No, just keep on trekking.
Thanks so much, Robert. Have a good night there.
Thank you.
How do you switch it on? Oh! Put that on there. Hello, it's Zephany. I've just been watching some Klikcast reviews and it's given me some inspiration to do a review of a game myself. And it's my first one ever, so I hope you enjoy.
Hell yeah, CastleVania, one of the best and inspirational games made for the NES, with its awesome music and gameplay, crazy hard difficulty and massive replay value. If only someone would make a CastleVania game on Multimedia Fusion. Well, looky here. Oh my goodness, this is so awesome. What more could you want from a game? A side-scrolling, fast-paced action game with enemies coming at you from every angle, epic bosses with sound effects that bring the game to life, and music you'll be singing to yourself at work. And this is how the game starts, just outside the castle with a bunch of lit candles. Does it remind you of anything? Anyway, so we walk along, we still haven't found any enemies yet. So far we've just seen candles that we can hit for items. I guess some bats, some ghosts maybe? No way, not this game. The first enemy we face is a massive boss before we can even get to the castle. But thanks to video editing software, we can speed this up rather than just watching me fail over and over again. And then the first level is in the castle itself, and it kind of reminds me a lot of the original on the NES, along with the nostalgic music. The graphics are brilliant even if they are ripped, but mainly I think Piscesdreams engine is pretty much spot on, and the gameplay is just as good as the NES version, with lots of enemies and interesting bosses to fight. In the candles you can attack, you collect all sorts of items and weapons, but you can also collect hearts, and believe it or not, you spend the hearts like ammunition for the weapons you pick up. And these weapons can be really handy against bosses. Your health bar is at the top of the screen, and we can also see the enemy's health bar, and that's for the boss at the end of the level. This is also the same as the original NES game. But more than anything, you need to expect to die a lot. This is not an easy game. Whether you backflip into a hole or just lose all your health, Dracula wants you dead. Overall, it's a great game. Never be too quick to diss a game that's taking off something else, especially if it's taking off something like CastleVania, and especially if it's been done this well. So definitely give this game a try. I don't give stars, but if I was Rikus I would say, and this game gets 5 stars out of 5.
Recently, the kind folks at GameBuilder.info had a Halloween competition where people submitted their Halloween themed games.
Back in 2005, resident developer David Newton designed and released a game called Crystal Towers. Whereas standard platformers in the past have had the basic left-to-right level design, Crystal Towers features stages with various pathways in order to achieve completion. In a nutshell, the level designs were quite outstanding for their time. During this time, Crystal Towers was considered to be a revelation in the Klik community by many, but was perhaps let down by a slightly dodgy engine and average graphics. Now fast forward to 2010, and the sequel is nearing completion. Enlisting and utilising an entirely new graphical interface with artwork designed by Jay Freud, Crystal Towers 2 could again pave the way forward for Klik platformers. Your character, Bernard, returns in a huge, and I'm not kidding here, the game is absolutely massive, almost 2D version of Super Mario 64. The music castle serves as the central big hub where portals are activated by the collection of orbs and rainbow gems. Upon playing for the first time, the player is gently eased into the game by an on-screen tutorial. Collecting your first few orbs and gems is fairly easy to begin with, but then suddenly a huge challenge awaits. Perhaps the game can be a bit too hard, with the challenge being too great, but with plenty of practice you will get better. The levels of Crystal Towers 2 feature objectives, and these can vary from simply finishing a stage to avoiding enemies or avoiding collectibles. Additional challenges might also include racing a ghost to the finish line, or shooting various targets with magic spells that you collect along your journey. There's a lot more to talk about in terms of the nitty-gritty. I could, for instance, talk about collecting items that enemies leave behind, and the need to fuse them together using a synthesizer to create new, significant items. Or I could talk about the heart-pounding feeling you get when you finally nail a challenge you spent days trying to beat. There's too much to feature in this preview without the podcast being totally dedicated to this game. Every game has a standout moment, and in Crystal Towers 2, for me, the standout moments are the boss fights. They're amazingly clever, perhaps made more intimidating by the dramatic, over-the-top yet fantastic music. The platform engine has received a much needed overhaul. It's a lot smoother, a lot more consistent. It can handle sloped and swinging platforms, and once again the level design is great. David plans on releasing Crystal Towers 2 at the end of the year. Keep your eyes peeled, it's a game definitely worth looking forward to.